What's up, everybody? Welcome to Claiming Christianity. My name is Steve. Today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the ESV, English Standard Version, Wide Margin Reference Bible. A little bit later towards the end of the review, we're going to just kind of put it side by side real quick with the Cambridge Wide Margin Reference Bible. This is in top grain leather, and we're going to take a look at it today. For all those of you who like to take notes and have a little extra space to write, maybe this is the Bible for you. This is put out by Crossway. We're going to jump over to the table in just a second. Before we do that, if you're new here, again, my name is Steve. Thanks for being here. While you're here, you're going to be encouraged and equipped to be the Christian you claim to be. We're going to do that by going through Scripture together and reviewing solid tools and resources to help make your day-to-day better and more Christ-focused. Without further ado, let's jump into it. This is a really nice Bible, and for a wide margin Bible, I'm not going to lie to you, the size is pretty darn good. But let's take a quick look at the box. I know somebody's going to yell at me for this, but you know what? A lot of people like to see the box. So the Crossway puts out really pretty boxes, especially for their top grain. And as you can see, this is the ESV Wide Margin Reference Bible in top grain leather in black. Okay, and there's the ISBN if you're interested. It retails for $174.99, but you can always find these Bibles on sale at Amazon or at christianbook.com, and I'll include a link if you are looking to purchase something like this down in the description. So it gives you a little bit of an idea, a few things that we're going to take a look at here, just in case you want to read the back and see what's going on there. By the way, go check this website out. Go to, especially if you own an ESV Bible, go take a look at esv.org. There's, you can look at all the Bibles they have. You even usually get it's not a subscription, that's not the right word, but get access to their like an online Bible if you want to use that via app. So you get a pledge with premium Bibles, essentially, and this is a really nice, this leather top grain, man, it's floppy. We'll see here in a minute. You get this pledge if you want to read it that basically says this was crafted, specifically to last, and it will last as long as you have the Bible, which I've never run into an issue where I've had to send a Bible back. If you have, I'd be interested to know what your experience was. All the Bibles that I use a lot of Crossway Bibles, have always been really good quality, and I haven't had that problem. Now, they're only 5, 10, 15 years old. They're not 100 years old. So let me know, because they have been around for 100 years. But let me know if you've had that experience. Let's take a look at the outside, and since we're going to compare it with the Cambridge towards the end, let's do a quick little measurement here. So you're looking at 9.5 inches by 6 3/4 inches by an inch and a quarter. So really, I'm not joking around here. This could be a really great everyday carry Bible. Sometimes wide margin Bibles, if you're not familiar with them, you'll see here in a minute. Sometimes wide margin Bibles can get really, really big, like the Cambridge wide margin. If you hang around to the end, we'll put them kind of side by side as much as we can. But this has a beautifully simple front, nothing printed on the front, nothing printed on the back, not even an ISBN number. Thank you so much for not doing that. You do get raised hubs. I'm really into raised hubs. I don't know that I've always been. I don't know that I knew that it was always a thing, but I really like these raised hubs here, and you get 4 of them. And as you can see, Holy Bible, ESV, English Standard Version, and then the Crossway logo. And by the way, this is not hard for me to do. That should give you a little bit of a idea of the floppy factor here. Okay. The top grain leather, just to repeat, it is top grain leather, and you get a nice gold art gilding. Okay. And we get 2 ribbons. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to give some constructive criticism here, because I always got to give a little bit. The ribbons leave a little bit to be desired. I know some of you don't care about the ribbons. I love my ribbons. My magic number is 4. You get 2 here, which is great. It's better than 1. But the ribbons are kind of small. So that would be my one piece of constructive criticism would be maybe a little bit beefier ribbon, 10 millimeter double-sided satin. That's kind of nice for a premium Bible. But let's Let's flip it open. Just so you know, this little thick line here, you can see, hopefully you can see that clearly in the video, but that is how the book block is tabbed into, which means the actual pages, the actual Bible. That's how it's connected to the cover. So don't ever separate that page. I like to mention that every once in a while, just in case I hear horror stories of people that like this bothered and they tried to separate it. That's how it's connected to the cover. So don't don't separate it. But you get a nice presentation page. Fill this out. You know, here at Claiming Christianity, our goal is to leave a legacy of faith. And I have Bibles that are 120 years old and older, and I would have loved for them to have far more information about the family members that passed them down to me. So fill out these sections. This Bible, by the way, has, this is one of my favorite sections for the reasons that I just stated, which is, just the family record section. I love this because we should be passing our Bibles down. They don't end with us. They go to our kids and our kids' kids and our kids' kids' kids. This Bible is a fantastic Bible to do that with, by the way. Since it has wide margins, you can take lots of notes, write prayers, lots of things you can do with a wide margin Bible. So here we get to the legal information page. This is the 2016 text edition. As far as I know, I have been told by Crossway, now I was told this years ago, but they're never going to update it. Now, you never say never, but I contacted them quite a few years ago and asked them, and they said, no, they're done. So that's information if you wanted to pause to look at any of the legal information and the ISBNs and whatnot. And then we get to the table of contents. Okay, so this is a reference Bible, which means it has cross references. We'll see that a little bit here when we get into the text, but it's not a study Bible. So study Bibles tend to have tons and tons of information in them and commentary and all that, and the table of contents is slightly more important. Here you're going to get the basic 66 books of the canon. Those are the 66 inspired Bibles, the Word of God, no more, no less. And it's just a preface. We'll take a look at that, an explanation of features, and then towards the end you get some maps and a concordance, and as always, a table of weights and measures. And that's really basically it. Now, this does have a list of alphabetical order, so especially if you're new and you don't know your way around the Bible, spend more time in it and get to know it. But as you're learning, if you're really having trouble finding where one of the books is, you can flip to the alphabetical order page. Now, I always suggest in every Bible that I review that you read through the preface. This is just the translation philosophy, why they translated it the way that they did. There are different translation kind of styles or methods, dynamic equivalents, formal equivalents. I have videos that explain the difference between those, but why they did that, why they chose to do some things. And I love that Crossway and the ESV include this Soli Deo Gloria, right? That's it right there. To God alone be the glory. And then we're going to get into the text. Okay, so I use this phrase a lot these days, and I hope that I coined it. If I didn't, sorry, but beautifully simple. And I say beautifully simple because sometimes the word simple has a bad connotation. That is not what I mean by simple. I mean simple as in it's beautifully simple. The layout is really, really nice. It's not all congested with a bunch of other stuff. They didn't cram too many lines or too many words in. Very easy to read. By the way, we're in Genesis here, and it's just flopping, laying over pretty solid there, as you can see. But as we get going here, I'll point out, and I'll lift this up so you can kind of see what it looks like, but the reference suite. Okay, so that's the reference suite, bottom right. Crossway does that in the bottom right a lot. And as you can see, I really appreciate that they make the verse numbers, or the chapter numbers rather, bold. Makes it much easier to find, and I really, really appreciate that they do that. You're always going to get a couple footnotes. Not many, but in every Bible there should be a little bit of footnotes, whether there's cross-references or not. You have nice, bold, you can even see it from as far away as the camera is right now. Nice, bold chapter numbers. Even the verse numbers are emboldened. Make it really easy to follow. Now this is, as you can see, and as we get into it here, a double column paragraph format Bible, as opposed to, if for those of you who might be kind of new to the Bible world, you can get single column paragraph format. Paragraph format just means the verses follow each other. See, like 30 starts right in the middle of the page here. You can also get verse by verse format, which would mean every verse would start essentially here. You know, you'd get 23, 24, 25, 26. I prefer verse by verse format these days, but a lot of people are used to paragraph format and like paragraph format. It really is a personal preference. So let's flop open here to, somebody's gonna yell at me probably for saying flop, but sorry, let's flip open. We'll say flip and make everybody happy here to our section here. I usually flip open to Isaiah or Jeremiah, and this is the reason. You can see your paragraph format right directly next to what would be a poetic setting. Okay, so really nice poetic setting with the indentations and the layout. Most poetic settings are different per like translation, but the poetic setting also, let me see if I can get a really good view there, give you an idea of what that this is line matched. You know, I almost hesitate to mention that anymore because line matching is pretty much standard. I have very few Bibles that are new that come out that aren't line matched, but that just means that the line behind it matches up with the line in front of it, and it makes readability much easier. You are going to get some ghosting in the poetry section, but in the non-poetic setting, just right here, look, it's very easy to read. You get very little ghosting or show through from the other side, and that makes it much more, in my opinion, much more pleasant to read. So this is a nice big 9-point font. 8 to 9 is usually standard, is the standard like normal size before you get up into large print, which would be 10 to 11, depending on the company. And you do, as you can see here, let's flip open to a non-poetic setting section. Here we go, Gospel of Mark. And I'm going to leave it nice and wide for you because you get about 1 inch, okay? So you get 1 inch margins, as you can see. You even get 1 inch in the gutter. The gutter can be a little bit harder to write in, okay? But you're going to get that in every Bible that you ever write in. But you get nice big 1 inch margins. You even get like a 1/2 inch here at the bottom, okay? So you get about a 1/2 inch. Yeah, about a 1/2 inch at the bottom and the top, which is really super nice, and allows for writing. Like I mentioned before, there's not too many lines squished in here, by the way. Sometimes they add lines or they add words to the sentence, the amount of words they'll allow, and it just squishes everything together. You're not going to have that trouble here. So if you're an underliner and a highlighter, plenty of room to do all that. Plenty of room to doodle, to draw. Some people interact with the text by drawing what they're reading, by making notes, creating your own cross-references, definitions. There's so many ways to use a wide margin Bible that I think you should have one for study purposes. All right, as we continue to flip here and wrap up, we'll take a look at the back. You do get a little concordance. By little, I don't mean smaller than a normal Bible concordance. But in Bible concordances, you're getting a limited amount of information, a limited amount of verses, of course, for space purposes. If you have an exhaustive concordance, they're like this big. I have a video on how to use a concordance if you're interested in that. You can just search for it down there. But you get your tables and weights and measures because, of course, biblical weights and measures are different from ours, to give you an idea. And then they do give you an introduction to the concordance, kind of how to use it and what it's all about. But you get nice bold words, okay? The words in the concordance, as you can clearly see on the video there, are bold. They're easy to find. You get, depending on the word and how popular the word is, a bunch of verses that correspond with that word. So this can be a great study tool. It can be a great way to just, you want to do a little bit more research on chosen and how the Bible uses the word chosen. Go start reading all those verses, and then you can even read the cross references within those verses. So it is nice to have in the back of your Bible. And we get to the nice colored maps. This is another thing that Crossway does really well, but everybody else is, in my opinion, I feel like they've stepped their game up in the last 20 years as far as maps go, because they're so easy to read. I love the color schemes that they're choosing for these maps. And for a guy that's colorblind, those of you who follow this channel, you know that I'm colorblind. I can see the difference in the colors they chose. But more importantly, I can read the words. So like sometimes the colors and the words of the cities and the lines and the rivers and they get a little bit jumbled in some of the older Bibles that I have. But they've done such a good job of with the colors that they use and the bold font type that they use in the back, that if you're a visual learner, which I am, I love to see things visually, like this map here of Jerusalem in Jesus's time. I love things like this because it really helps me wrap my brain around what was happening and where he was going, since I haven't been there in person, which makes me sad. All right, you do get a couple of blank pages at the end. These blank pages are cardstock, as are the maps, by the way. The maps are thicker, but they're cardstock. You could write and take notes on it there, but they're just extra. And I take notes on my cardstock when they include them. There's about 4 of them back there. And before we go, I just want to show you, just put side by side this ESV. Okay, put out by Crossway, ESV, wide margin, reference Bible by Crossway, and then this one. This is also ESV. This is the Cambridge wide margin. This is put out by obviously Cambridge. The ribbon quality, despite the fact that it's a Cambridge Bible, is not a whole lot better. Cambridge is not known for their super high quality ribbons. But look at the sizes. They're very close. Except I'll tell you what. Like that inch, it's probably about half an inch, half to 3/4 of an inch, makes a big difference, because this Cambridge Bible, especially when you're flopping it open, it gets real big. Now let's open up to, that's Psalm 44. Okay, let's open up to Psalm 44 in this Bible, and at the very least, give you a look here. So you're looking side by side. I think that Crossway did a fantastic job here. You're getting almost the same amount of space. You get a little bit more margin space in the Cambridge, which is this one up here. But, for what you're going to save, kind of going through Crossway, you pick. You can also see a little bit different. Again, for a colorblind guy, you guys might be able to see it even more. But this is a little more off-white, in my opinion. The Cambridge, the Crossway is a little more bright white. And that's really a personal preference and how things land with your eyes. So that's basically it. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me today. If you have any questions that I did not cover, I am far from perfect and do forget things from time to time. Please let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them with the information that I have. Hey, thank you guys for watching today. I hope I've earned the privilege of your time. I want to say a big thank you to Crossway for sending me this Bible so I can review it for you to show you what's out there and available. Hey, if you got value out of this content and think that others might get value out of it too, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, make sure you're subscribed, even share it on your own social media page so others who might have the same questions as you do can come and check it out. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. We have lots of good content coming out. Not so many Bibles these days just because production has been slow. But when I get them, I'll review them for you for sure. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments. And don't forget, be the Christians you claim to be.